We weren't there for cubing. We weren't there for the competition at all. Our primary goal for going to cubing competition was a big giant play date, a socialization, developing play date. That's all it was.
Tomorrow I'm excited to see Kevin. Can I watch Kevin tomorrow? So tomorrow I'm gonna watch Kevin to December, okay?
Why don't you do that?
I think that all new parents have a tendency to be hyper cautious when they are expecting a new child. And us not being parents before, we didn't know. We thought we knew what we were going to do. When we got home from the hospital, it wasn't more than about 6 months to 7 to 8 months. We started to just have a gut feeling something was wrong. Yeah, sure, we were never parents before, and that clouded our sort of like our perspective a lot, because we're like, well, we're not parents, we don't know what to expect from a baby. So when we saw like some of the things that Max was doing, we were pretty convinced Max was deaf. Sometimes, like, let's say he was playing with a toy or something like that, and we would just drop a giant wooden something on the concrete floor or the tile floor, and it would make a huge clack. That would normally make other kids like freak out and cry. Max, he was playing with this thing and didn't even flinch. It was just starting to pile up. All the symptoms of autism were piling up.
I read, this thick book about all the babies, except the part autism, because that is a part that is no. The baby is okay.
I talked to Nikki about it, and it was really hard to discuss. It's almost like you don't want to go there.
What do you want?
So when we found out about it, we were of course unbelievably distraught.
Before you have baby, you have a lot of dreams and what you're gonna do with him. Especially as a boy, probably Xuan had more expectation than me.
And all of a sudden, all the things that you thought that were great and you wanted to succeed at, you all of a sudden transfer all those hopes to your child. When you realize that your child has autism, all that completely flies out the door. And one of the things he couldn't do was open up a water bottle. And so in the process of going through therapy exercises, one of the things that we thought was, well, let's have him work with Rubik's Cube. He seemed to be very drawn to sort of like, the colors and the shapes. And we thought, well, this is going to be really good for his fingers. And so the therapist started working with him, and Mickey actually at one point went on YouTube and learned how to solve the cube so she can teach Max. So
I learned from YouTube and then I taught him, and then from there he just took off.
So that's how it started. Mickey learned it first, taught Max. Max picked it up right away. And immediately the next day he was faster than Mickey. At that time, we were always looking for a situation to put him in a social situation, play dates and things like that. And a lot of times when we went to different situations or different events had a social situation, but it was difficult because even at that time, Max was just so far behind socially that it was just too much of a hurdle to climb to even keep up or to maintain understandable process for Max to even follow with everybody else. So for example, like soccer or anything like that. I mean, there was just such a learning curve of he had no clue what was going on.
So that's why I try to look for this competition. I just Googled it and it was popped up with this Nisei Open. At the beginning, I was kind of terrified because I didn't know what Max would think or act, because he's obsessed with this winning. He doesn't like to play any games unless he knows for sure that he's gonna do perfect.
9 seconds, 9:15. He got sub 10.
But when we got there, he was so happy and he recognized these cubers and then pointing and then talk. And I was like, wow.
Surprisingly, everybody that was there were super patient and really, really kind and very understanding. And, you know, even like the first person that Max ever cubed with was Everett Kelly. And he showed Max how the process worked, how to solve, how to touch the timer, how to sign. And so it was funny, the things that he was experiencing were the same things that we had to spend tons of money trying to hire therapists to do. We were getting it for free at a cubing competition. And much more purposeful and valuable because Max loved it there and loved it what everybody was doing. So now we brought together two worlds, a therapy environment, and Max loves it. Now, what could be more powerful than to use that to help him develop his social skills? So it was a gold mine for us. Right away, we thought this is a gold mine.
Apart from the benefits of socialization, Max would soon discover that competitions were a place where he could thrive. In 2012, in only his second competition, an 11-year-old Max placed first in the 6x6 event, surprising everyone at the competition, especially his parents. In the next 4 years, Max's steady improvement would take him to dazzling heights that his parents would have never imagined.
The amount of hope that was thrown back from the day Max was diagnosed and all the hope was gone to how the hope is being siphoned back in slowly. Developing young adults that understands competitive nature and striving to be the best and resulting from hard work, discipline, and yet you're not rising at the expense of somebody else. And I think the cubing community turns out young adults that are just set up to succeed in life in almost every way.
Seeing him become the kind of person that I always wanted him to be and seeing how cubing has fit into that and been a passion for him and helped him become that is huge. It's certainly changed his whole entire life.
For so many of us, speedcubing has played an important part in our lives. It has introduced us to long-lasting friendships, helped us to belong, and for others, it has changed lives. Ernest Hemingway once said, "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self." Nowhere else is this statement more self-evident than in our speedcubing family. This idea of creating a healthy, competitive environment that fosters individual pursuit to be the best, while still cheering the success of our rivals, is what makes us special. And that is why we cube.
You know this piece.
I know this one. And I know this one.
You don't know?
I know.
You wait.
You're